everybody. Welcome to the season 2 finale of Who is Better. Today, we are covering one of the hugest rivalries of all time. But before we get to that, let's introduce my two other co hosts here. One of them is,
I'm Berman.
Hey,
and
Chris.
the other is.
Chris, you're
Yes,
winner
Chris.
of this fucking debate.
Hey, we don't.
I'm the master of debaters.
All right, master of debaters, Chris. Interesting. So, Chris is kind of cutting some little wrestling promos to kick off this video. But Chris, who are you representing in this debate today, and why?
I'm representing Shawn Michaels because he's the GOAT. Unlike Triple H, he's old, he's a sellout, and he only got the position he has because he married into the business.
Damn. All right.
That's all he's good for.
And Berman, who are you representing today, and why?
I got Triple H. He's the king of kings. He's the best, bro, in every word of sense. And he's so much better than Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels didn't get beat up in the face by military people.
Don't even come at me with that shit. At least he didn't try to rape a fucking blow-up doll. Don't even get me with that. I won't let people forget about the Katie Vick thing.
Well, you should not. Probably you should not remind anyone about Sonny, about some controversy about Sonny.
Nah, don't even call her Mermaid. Don't even call her because we can do this shit with China too. He killed her and ruined her career.
Well, I could talk about Dana Smith.
Yeah, but she's not famous enough.
Well, she is the wife of British Bulldog, so I think that is pretty famous for that.
Maybe in Europe, but they just lost their queen, so they ain't shit.
All right. So,
this is America, baby.
Quite the way to kick off this debate, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are getting as heated as possible in this one. It's the season finale. We're going to be crazy. Now, let's kick off to the first category, the entrance and themes. So, Berman, what is the entrance of Triple H, and why is the entrance better than Shawn's entrance?
I picked the King of Kings, which is made by the Motorhead. Great sound, always a great sound. Every time you hear it, you can riff to it, you can headbang, and every time he makes his entrance, he has this great attitude with coming out with his water bottle, just put it in his mouth and sprays it everywhere. Just great to show that he is 100% the king of the ring, more or less. So always the King of Kings is the best.
Now, Chris, your reason, your entrance. What are they?
It's gonna be the Sexy Boy, and unlike Triple H, he doesn't need 4 fucking themes every so often, and that's not even the best Motorhead song ever. And quite frankly, Triple H, spitting on people's gross.
Well,
Yeah.
he spits in the air. He spits in the air, so he doesn't even hit a lot of people. So I think you're a little bit over exaggerating.
Bro, I bet you Triple H is the reason why people got COVID in the first place because of that unsanitary shit.
Well, I think probably people who got AIDS probably got it from Shawn Michaels. So
at least they had a good time. The people are so fucking stupid.
A little overdoing it.
So
all
fucking...
right. So now,
well, my song's better. Wait, no. My song's better because it's not rock. Okay, I win. Okay, now you can go, Daniel.
Thank you for interrupting me. Now, I will say this. The more well-known song is probably Sexy Boy. That may be the more better known one. More iconic. However, personally, the one I prefer is the King of Kings. Triple H 1. Shawn Michaels 0. Next category. Next category. Who has the better finisher? The pedigree or the sweet chin music? Chris, why is the sweet chin music better than the pedigree?
The sweet chin music is better because literally every single wrestler to this day still uses this move. I mean, now it's called a super kick, and it can be applied to either heels or faces. And quite frankly, the pedigree, it's kind of lame. It's boring, and only heels can use them, and it's so predictable because it's like, oh, he's gonna hit the pedigree. It's like nobody cares about the pedigree. I don't know. That's all I got.
Berman, your
Thank
reason?
you.
Yeah, the pedigree is the best. Like, don't get me wrong. There's one time in his career that he messed up that pedigree and pretty much gave the guy brain damage to me. But pedigree is probably the most iconic when anyone sees a type of older finisher, a pedigree uses it. And there's only really two people who really uses the pedigree, and mainly is Seth Rollins right now. But the pedigree is just the most iconic. Everyone loves seeing it. It's pretty simple, and it's really no one ever uses it in outside the company. You don't see anyone do that outside the company except Triple H and Seth Rollins, and that means something. So
That's
to me, pedigree is just one of the best. It has the most impact too.
it may have an impact, but Berman, where's the build up? Where's the showmanship? Unlike the sweet chin music, Shawn Michaels is getting it ready. He's got the stomps, he's got the crowd behind him. I mean, the pedigree is just a one hit and done, but where's the build up? It's just a one and hit. Lame.
Well, that's even if like friggin' if you do that to someone, even though it's so predictable to say, like, oh, you hear the music, you hear the fans roaring. All right, I can just dodge out of it like that quickly. It's not. It's probably the easiest one to get out of the way from. He only does that just like Roman Reigns. He does that, misses it, then he does it on a different way, and he super kicks him. So it's not. Uh, it's a useless, like sorry, a useless thing to give the crowd. Just something. It's the same thing as Roman Reigns.
I love how like every debate we do we always mention Roman Reigns. Like, dude, every fucking time.
Well, it's a good way to say something.
Yeah, let's get Roman Reigns out of this company and out of our podcast. But back to the topic. Pedigree may be
No, real
good.
quick. Actually, you want
No,
to
you're
know
not
why
allowed to debate, Daniel.
we
You're a
mention?
judge.
No, but real quick. You want to know why we mention Roman all the time on these debates?
Don't you fucking say he's the GOAT.
Because he is the GOAT, and he lives rent free in your head, Chris.
Whatever. Just pick the better finisher.
Do you guys have anything else to say? Actually, before I interrupted you,
No,
you, Chris.
Nah.
Okay. Now, I think the pedigree is pretty cool. I don't think it's that lame. However, again, kind of like what Chris said, everyone does use the sweet chin music, but that is because of how just great the move simply is. It's a simple kick to the face, but it looks impactful. It looks great. Everyone knows what that is, wrestling fan or not. So I'm gonna give it to Shawn Michaels. Triple H won. Shawn Michaels won. Next category. Now the next category is the overall move set. Now, Berman, do you believe Triple H has a better move set than Shawn? And if so, why?
yes, he does because of how many moves that he can do, and he has the knee strikes. He has a spine buster, which is technically more or less his signature. He has the knee mash, knee face crusher. He has a lot of clotheslines. He doesn't go up the top rope very often. He doesn't really do that. And if he needs to break the rules, he can bring out his iconic sledgehammer to bring down a lot of people. It shows how innovative he is, and he has used these move sets out of different situations. He has used a few of these things up from the ropes, from the top rope, middle rope, for desperation. It just shows how versatile he is, and he can keep on inventing new things.
All right, now Chris, your rebuttal.
That's a fancy word. Don't use fancy words on this podcast, Daniel. But
You know,
anyway, but
you know
anyway,
what? You're right. You're right. The majority of people on this website are 10 years old. So yeah, maybe you're right
this
to a
is a
degree.
wrestling podcast, sir. But
Anyways, continue.
okay, so just like Triple H, Shawn Michaels may not have the fanciest of move sets, but what he lacks in the moves, he has in personality, and I think that's more important in a wrestler's move set because yeah, you could perform all these flips, you could do like damaging moves, but you need the crowd's movement, bro. Like you need the support of the crowd to really sell. Like you could be a good wrestler, but it doesn't mean anything if the crowd isn't with you. And besides the super kick, Shawn Michaels has his little combos, his fury things, and he goes from time and time again on the turnbuckles, excuse me, with his crazy jumps or whatever. So I will give the point to Shawn Michaels just for the little extra personality he puts into his moves. And a sledgehammer does not count as a move, Berman. That's fucking cheating.
Technically, it is cheating because technically, it's a sledgehammer. You're not supposed to. I'm just trying to say that that's a most iconic thing he does in his moveset when he can cheat in like a hardcore match. He can bring in a sledgehammer because that's his type of thing. He did against Shawn Michaels. That shows how good and effective it is against someone.
Well, yeah, it's a sledgehammer, Berman. What are you talking about? That's gonna
Yes,
affect
exactly.
anybody.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt someone. Yeah, so that's why
That's
it's just
not a
that's
move
why I showed.
set. That's a weapon.
Sure, but I think that's technically his moveset because that's how everyone knows it about a sledgehammer, the cerebral assassin. That's how he got his name.
Nah, that's all I have to say to you, sir.
And Triple H does have some
Oh,
personality when he does his movesets. He does have a few small personality because he's most of the time a heel. He does that, but most of the time he likes doing the suck it. He does like doing that type of setup. It's perfect for him. He just doesn't have to show off a lot. He can just show off how good he is than showing off to the crowd.
Berman. Shawn Michaels does the same taunts that he does, but even better. Because Shawn Michaels is taller and Triple H is a midget.
Well, at least Shawn Michaels didn't get beat up by a bunch of military people.
You're not gonna. No.
Yes, he did
No.
in a bar fight.
No.
So technically he did.
Well,
So you don't get that.
listen, man, we're not gonna disrespect the Marines, all right, man. Like,
Oh,
I
he did. Shawn Michaels did.
no, he did it.
Yes, he did.
No, that's bullshit. For me. He didn't do anything.
Yes, he did.
He was just minding his own business, and Shawn may have said a
No,
few things that were the most appropriate thing, but you know it's fine. We got the
exactly.
we got the freedom of speech, and those soldiers are communists.
All right.
Our
Well,
Marines, dude.
is it
Jesus.
time that I interject?
Communists. Those are KGB spies, Berman. Trump said so.
Don't bring any politics, dude.
No.
Yeah, I can agree with that. We don't need politics on this shit. But yeah. So time to interject and talk about these move sets. Now, I think Triple H has a pretty simple but overall effective and good move set. But the main thing that makes Triple H in the ring captivating is his personality, actually. But when you go over to Shawn Michaels, he has inspired so many wrestlers with his move sets. But the two that literally copy every single thing he has done from back in the day are the Young Bucks. And a lot of people are fan favorites of the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
But if Shawn Michaels never happened, the Young Bucks would have never happened. When I say the Young Bucks would have never happened, I'm talking about every single piece of themselves, their personalities, the way they, over exaggerate themselves, and the way they dress, and the way they fucking do everything. It's all Shawn Michaels, ladies and gentlemen. It's the super kicks. It's all Shawn Michaels. And Jeff Hardy's another person that the Young Bucks want to be. But point being, besides the Young Bucks, is that tons of wrestlers, and Young Bucks just being two of them, have copied and embodied a lot of the things Shawn Michaels has done from back in the day. So, I gotta give the point to Shawn Michaels. Triple H won. Shawn Michaels 2. Next category. Category 4. Who has the better mic skills? Chris, what's your opinion?
I'm just gonna say it. Shawn is literally known for the mic. The only thing that Triple H does on the microphone is just yells. He's like, "I'm the game. I spit water in the air. I make grunty noises. I have to resort to violence. Wrestling's not all about violence, Bourbon. We talk sometimes." Yeah.
And Berman, your response?
Fucking talk. You sound like the Hulk, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, brothers.
Triple H is not the Hulk, or freaking Hulk, or freaking Randy Savage, or Hulk Hogan, or whoever. Triple H does have a lot of great face mic skills. He did so many times in as a heel against yours, Shawn Michaels, and to many other people, even against John Wayne. For me, name a good few of them. Big Show as the Authority. He has been a crazy power hungry king, I would say. Calling him that, and he talks like he's a king, showing that everyone should bow down to him. And that's perfectly what Mike skills show for him. He incorporates his style of being a king to say, "Hey, everyone, kneel to me, or else bad things will happen to you." And that's how he is. He doesn't spit water all the time. He doesn't do it in his mic skills. Yes, he does do his yelling or stuff, but that's perfectly his style. As trying to intimidate someone. Then Shawn Michaels is some different other thing. He just talks about random things that makes that. Yes, he's a good mic skill, but I don't think he's good better enough than Triple H because he's more versatile than Shawn Michaels on the mic.
I will for sorry to interrupt, Bourbon, but the only king of wrestling is Booker T, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Not true.
That is the actual king of wrestling.
Slander up in here.
He's the only reason why Triple H got that fucking position, and I already said this already, but it's because of Stephanie McMahon. He's not the
It
king
could
of
be true, but
kings. He's the king of
if you think about
corporate.
Shawn, if you think about Shawn, he only got his position on NXT's because of his friend Triple H. So I don't think you can take that distinction too.
Nah, I'm gonna separate that, bro.
No, if you talk about it, my my wrestler's wife, you're talking about Shawn Michaels freaking freaking harassment towards Dana Smith. So I don't think you can talk about more of that.
No, no, Bourbon. You see, Sean wasn't. He was younger back then, bro. He just didn't know. His eyes got all fucked up, so he just didn't know from right from wrong. Cause he's crooked. But that's
All
not
That's
right,
his
not an
fault.
explanation
all
for
right.
harassment.
I
That's
think it
not
is.
that's an explanation for harassment.
You heard it,
That is
folks.
not.
If you have fucked up eyes like Shawn Michaels, it's okay.
His ability, I can harass anyone. No, that's not fair to
Let's
anyone. So
listen, man. If Sammy Guevara could say whatever he said back in the
Oh
day, it's
my
fine.
god. Well, I think it's time to interject, folks. So, both these guys know how to definitely talk on the mic. That's for sure. Fantastic on the mic. But, Chris, you are definitely wrong about one thing.
Don't you fucking say it.
Yes, drink water and spit it out and talk on the mic. Like, imagine he just, drinks the water and just goes like, "I'm the king of kings, that's triple."
That's what he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
But he only has that water for his entrance. Point being is that when I think of one of the very best talkers in the game, maybe the very best talker in the game, besides The Rock, obviously, and a few others, Triple H is up there, dog. I'm going to give this point to Triple H.
You son
Him
of a
on the
bitch.
mic has been able. Him on the mic, though, has been able to carry a story by itself, and that is utterly undeniable, in my opinion. So I got to give it to Triple H. 2-2. Next category. Who's the better face? Berman, allow you to go first. Chris, go ahead to freely take your rebuttal.
I think Triple H is a great face when he wants to. Like he has been in two different, oh well, mainly in one type of face, and that is as the DX with Shawn Michaels, which is kind of hard to do because we're pretty much opposing each other. But when he was in DX as this type of face faction, he everyone loves him. He pretty much tortured McMahon and Vince McMahon with pretty much mocking them, dressing up as him. So it shows how much fun he can do and make people laugh with that. And that's how good faces do this. That they can have make the whole arena laugh, and that's how good Triple H is as a face.
All right, I can see that, Bourbon, but I'm gonna counter your argument just through the fact that only in that one example that he is a good face as the tag team, the Generation X, and I'm not gonna fault you for that. But if we're talking who's the better face, it's definitely got to be Shawn Michaels, dude. Because quite frankly, he's literally the underdog, and I don't buy Triple H for a fact being a face other than when he has to tag team with people, as you mentioned before. And while Shawn can most likely just do it more often than anything because he's kind of built for it, even back when he first started too. So I'm gonna give it to Shawn Michaels.
So now time for me to interject. So both these guys are definitely at bare minimum good faces.
Thank you, Daniel.
However, well, they both definitely have their qualities as a faces. Triple H had a very iconic, face run from 2006 to 2013, with 2008 specifically being the peak of that face run. In Michaels, he had two great face runs. He was a face for the majority of his second career run from 2002 to 2010. He had glimpses of being a heel, but for the most part, he was a face in those years. And the other time he was a face was actually on the rise to becoming the WWF champion in the mid 90s. From 95 to 96, he kind of became, again, as Chris mentioned earlier, an underdog kind of hero. And yeah, a lot of people wanted to see him win, despite all of the backstage politics and all the backstage things that go on with Shawn Michaels. He had this odd way of getting you to root for him. And it was a very weird power. It's like the power Hulk Hogan had over many. And maybe Shawn obviously isn't, the same person as Hulk Hogan, but point being is that when Shawn's a face, you're able to forget about Shawn the person and you're able to focus on Shawn the wrestler. And it's a very rare power. Not many in the business have the ability to, do. So point being, I gotta say Shawn is the better face for that. So Shawn 3, Triple H 2. Next category. Who is the better heel? Furman, you go first. Chris, you freely respond.
To me, I think this is a simple win to me because I feel like Triple H is one of the best heels in history. He has been the most brutal, even against his friends, Shawn Michaels in general, betraying him. He just makes everyone hate him. And even again with the authority, pretty much showing, hey, I'm a businessman, and if you get in my way, I will fire you, or I will do something worse to you. And that's the same thing against Daniel Bryan. He did the exact same thing at WrestleMania 30. It's perfect, showing that he can pretty much make anyone hate him and make the fans hate him as much. And he can give a lot of people going against him as a face, mainly Daniel Bryan again, a lot of showing saying everyone makes him the underdog and it makes everyone more happier to see him win, showing how good Triple H is at enhancing people in a match while he was a heel, and I think he's one of the best heels of all time.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie to you, Bourbon. I'll give it to Triple H for this category, but I just want to mention that this is a joke, okay? So don't fucking cancel me on Twitter if we ever make it big. But the reason why Shawn Michaels is the better heel because he never wanted to work with The Rock, and he always sent him to the locker room because he didn't like the way how he was. So Shawn Michaels is the better heel in real life.
Ooh. Maybe he is the better heel in real life. But if we're talking in character, this got to go to Triple H, don't it?
Yeah.
So we're gonna give it to
I'm
Triple
going
H.
to
Triple
hell.
H 3, Shawn Michaels 3. The next category. Now this is a category we decided to add. Well, two categories I decided to add for this special finale because this is the biggest rivalry in wrestling history, in my personal opinion, or at least one of them. Next is the selling. Who is the better seller when they get hit or when they're in a submission? Who can inflict the damage that they are perceiving and make it look more believable, or just overall have a more funny sell in general? I don't know. Just who is more convincing? And the person to start that off will be Chris.
Oh, you think I was like, who goes first? But if I'm being quite honest, Shawn Michaels may not sell his moves the hardest. However, I can count for the fact that Shawn Michaels is the best at taking damage because my God, the goofy ass things that Shawn Michaels performs in his when he used to be like at his peak was just downright hilarious. Like it's to the point, dude, where it's just like, come on, bro. It's like now you're just overselling, but that's why I kind of liked him more. So I guess in this subcategory, I will give it to Shawn Michaels for taking the best amount of damage, and for him to like, do his thing. But as to like him for attacking or whatever, if that makes sense. It's not as good, so I'll give it to Triple H. So I don't know how we're gonna do this. So Burby, your turn.
Triple H, I think he sells a great seller. He sells a lot of crap, brutally, even against like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels himself, and you can see how much damage when he gets hit by something. It feels brutal. Like even a match against Seth Rollins, it shows. So Triple H for me.
Personally, uh, when I meant selling, I kind of might have confused the definition. I meant by when like Shawn Michaels is getting hit or when Triple H is getting hit, not when they're attacking. So my bad on that, y'all. My
Oh,
bad on that.
okay.
But personally, they're both really goofy at selling if you actually look up the research. But the one that is just so funny, the one that genuinely I believe is one of the best sellers of all time, is Shawn Michaels. The way that dude sold a code breaker or some offense by Hulk Hogan or some offense by Undertaker, he made every person he went against look legit as hell, no matter who they were. So I got to give it to Shawn Michaels. So, Shawn 4, Triple H 3. Next category, booking ability. Chris, I'll let you go first.
Wait, what?
Booking ability. So, when it comes down to booking, like putting on a show, who is the better one at doing that?
Oh, okay. Um, you know what? Honestly, I know I'm supposed to go for my boy here, Shawn Michaels, but I'm gonna give it a Triple H for this category, Chief.
Yeah, I feel like that's common sense here.
Yeah, I'm just like I don't know, man. So Burby, you take it away.
Yeah, I can't say anything more. Triple H is one of the best at booking anything. That's
And
a
Shawn with 2.0, if he really wants to take responsibility for that shit, then oh boy, it's easily the worst incarnation of NXT we've seen since the game show. Just want to put it out there.
I like the game show. That show was funny.
Well, I don't
Maybe
know how to say that one.
maybe I'm the problem.
Maybe you are. Who knows? But yeah, booking ability, we got to give it to Triple H here. So it's 4-4. Now, these next two matches are both WrestleMania matches. It's the best match category, and this might be one of the hardest decisions I make on this podcast, so bear with me, y'all. Furman, I'll let you explain first. What is your match, and why did you pick that match? And then Chris, I'll let you explain immediately after Furman.
I picked one of my favorite matches of all time. Triple H versus Undertaker, one of my favorites of all time. Undertaker, end of the era, WrestleMania 28, Hell in a Cell. Perfect. And the most funny thing is that Shawn Michaels was special guest referee in this match. And it was effing great. I loved every single part. Just so many things. Even like Shawn Michaels saying, "Hey, don't attack him anymore. Don't attack him anymore. He's already down." Like, but he keeps on attacking and keeps on attacking him. Even uses a sledgehammer to hit Undertaker. Still did not go down. It was so good. So many like three pedigrees in this whole match. Undertaker keeps on trying to use his tombstone countered. He used his Hell's Gate, put him to sleep. Didn't, but no one was there to say that he's out. It was just wait. It was just so good. And the best thing that happened was at the end of the match, Undertaker helped Triple H on his feet and walked him out to the top of the stage to show that he respects him so much and to give everyone and give the fans someone to say cheer for. It was so memorable, and it was 100% one of the end of an era match that everyone needed to watch. One of the best matches of all time, this Triple H and Undertaker match.
All right. And then I can see why I'm not even gonna hate. Well, but in my case, for the HBK versus Bret Hart, that is going hands down as a classic. Like you can literally people still talk about it to this day. And for a 60-minute match, like you have to like either really sell it, otherwise this is gonna be such a boring waste of time. And it wasn't. And the craziest thing too, when I was talking to Daniel about this, like previously, and the second time viewing this match is like I didn't realize like none of these guys went 0-0 until like the last 50 minutes of the match or 60 towards the end, where you're just like, there's no way no one actually won until of course Shawn Michaels did eventually win. But there's so many spots here and there between HBK and Bret Hart. It's just absolutely legendary classic. Not to discount the Undertaker, but I think for this instance, it was classic for its time. It's memorable, and for some people, it's even one of the greatest matches in WWE history. So I'm gonna give it for the Iron Man match for HBK versus Bret Hart.
All
There you
right.
go.
So you both picked masterpieces. I'll admit it. Um, man, what do I even say here? So Triple H and Undertaker, absolute classic. End of an era in Hell in a Cell. Arguably, from a storytelling standpoint, one of the best WrestleMania matches ever. But then you go over to HBK versus Bret Hart, which was another one of the biggest rivalries in wrestling history due to the real life heat they had against one another in the mid 90s. And Michaels, again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, was on the rise as a face. So getting that win against Bret here was very impactful. But going a straight hour in the WrestleMania main event, 0-0. Astonishing concept. And it was done perfectly. And you got Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, in my opinion, the two best in-ring performers in wrestling history. They were both so different, yet those two philosophies are the two philosophies we see flooded through everywhere in wrestling today. And this match may be one of the key inspirations to many, many people in our generation. So these are both classics. These are both 10 out of 10s. Both could probably make a top 10 best matches of all time list for me. So this is hard. When I personally talk about which one I get more fun out of, it's probably the Triple H and Taker match. However, if we're talking about wrestling, which match is the better wrestling piece? Which is the one that will inspire the wrestler, the fan, the one rooting for the underdog hero to get the job done against the veteran who's been on top for the past few years? Overall, when I think about it all, HBK versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12 is one of the most important matches in wrestling history. And I got to give it to HBK versus Bret Hart. HBK 5, Triple H 4. Therefore, the better overall wrestler of all time is Shawn Michaels. Any thoughts you guys want to give?
No, I think it was a close match. I felt like Triple H and Undertaker was probably one of the best matches. Same with the HBK, but to me, the Undertaker was more my favorite. But I think this was a very close, close to call. So I think the better man won as a.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
and I was just being edgy. Don't mean any of the shit I said in the podcast.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of this is meant for entertainment purposes, obviously. So we will be back in no time. There's been a lot of drama in AEW recently, and we could have talked about it, but we haven't, because nobody knows the full story except for those involved. So maybe we will talk about it when the story is fully, uncovered. But maybe we won't. You see, the past few weeks, constant updating stories, things change and certain things may come out that may not be true. And we do not want to report those things. We don't want to support narratives against a single individual. We don't want to be an anti-CM Punk. We don't want to be an anti-elite channel. We don't want to be anti-anybody. We want to be a wrestling channel people can simply enjoy. So we will not be covering that drama just yet. And we will be returning soon. Within this next month or so, you guys will be getting retro rewatches and a few other videos that we recorded within these past few weeks and months. But when we come back, I promise you guys, you will be looking at a new and reinvented and beautiful channel that is the Powerbomb Project. So, for the simple viewers that have been watching us these past few months, I really want to say thank you for supporting this channel, giving us the admiration to continue talking about wrestling and what we love to talk about. But we are going to evolve. And you guys watching these videos will be rewarded with some amazing content in the future for it. So keep on supporting. You're not going to regret it. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Daniel.
I've been Bertman.
And I've been Chris, and we're anti-Roman Reigns.
No, we are not.
Yes, we are.
No, we are
We
not.
are
Thank you
anti-Roman
all.
Reigns wrestling channel.
No, we are not. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy.
Roman Reigns, man.